What's
What's
good, everybody?
up? This your girl Tay.
This your boy Twice, and this is another episode of the Facts of Feelings podcast with Twice and Tay. You know, we always ask y'all to share this out to y'all followers, right? So at this time, we're asking that you just go ahead out and share with your family, your friends, on your social media, or however you watching. And we'll be right back.
I wonder if it's facts or feelings that you're feeling. I don't know if you know what's for real. Baby, just relax and chill. Let the tea spill. I bet the chemistry stop the bill. I wonder if it's facts or feelings that you're feeling. I don't know if you know what's for real. Baby, just relax and chill. Let the tea spill. I bet the chemistry stop the bill. I wonder if it's facts that you feeling. I love the fact you chillin'. These hours fly by when you and I is chillin'. These hours fly by, feel like a couple minutes. Seen you on my timeline. Hold up, wait a minute, Twice and Tay. Yeah, you know they always catching up. Keep us up to date, cause it's hard to keep up through the day.
And we're back. We're back. This is our episode. We're going to talk about breast cancer awareness. How you feeling today, Tay?
Feeling good. A little tired though.
I know it. I know it. She just got back in from Memphis, everybody, from a conference, and I'm actually at the domestic violence awareness rally. So we've been getting, excuse me, we've been getting to it today, but we didn't want to leave y'all hanging. But without no further ado, we always do a fact and a feeling. The fact is, breast cancer is real. This is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We have a breast cancer. I was so used to saying survivor. Tay was sharing with me that our guest said a survivor, and we're gonna let her explain that. I guess I hope I didn't jump the gun, Tay.
But that's all
What did
right.
you say? All right. So the
It,
fact is breast cancer awareness month, and how do we feel about it? We feel like that some light need to be shed on it, some awareness need to be brought to it, and we just brought our one of our sisters on today to share with us.
yeah. We know that so many families have been impacted by this disease, by this medical condition. It has impacted families in a way that you, can only be explained by them. We know not only just families in general, but just the individual has been impacted in just a way that has caused a lot of life changing situations and circumstances to take place. But I think nobody can explain this any better than our good sister, our friend Jennifer Pittman Lampton. So we're gonna bring Jen on right now.
Hey,
Hey,
Jean.
Hey
Jean.
everybody. Hey,
how you doing?
I am doing good today. It's been a day just like y'all. So it's been a day, but just
Right.
another day. Thankful for it.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us.
And we
Thank you
thank you.
guys for having me.
Yeah, we see it's a couple of viewers already on. Just to remind y'all that you can ask questions in the comment section. If you comment, Tay will be able to see those comments, and we'll go from there. And if you haven't already shared it out, shared it out. And I think I'm gonna let the ladies have the living room. I'm at the domestic violence awareness rally, as I was telling y'all. So I'm gonna drop out here shortly and let the ladies have it. It's gonna be good because guess what? I get to come back and watch like a viewer.
Yes, and we know that breast cancer doesn't just affect women, but it also affects men. But Demaria say, "Hey, Sister Jen."
Hey Demaria.
So we're just so excited, so happy to have Jennifer here, and I've heard her testimony. So, but I think it's just powerful for other people to hear. Now, y'all may not get it as in depth as I've heard it, but you'll get a little snippet. So,
Right.
um, Jen, first off, I just want to again thank you for being here, and I want to ask you: Are there is there anything about your journey that you would like to just start by sharing with us?
Yes. So I was diagnosed with breast cancer in October 2017, right before I was scheduled, y'all, to go to FAMU's homecoming. I am a Rattler, and yes, Jackson State handed us a L this past weekend. Yes, you guys did. But it's all in love. It's all in love. So I wanted to just come on and just kind of share. I when I got the diagnosis, my husband Carl was with me in the doctor's office, and I mean, really, it just kind of started out as a routine checkup, y'all. So doing those breast exams, whether you do them, whether your spouse does them for you, you need to definitely do the self examinations. And I noticed a lump. And so when I noticed a lump, I just didn't think anything about it because typically I have what they call dense breasts. And sometimes you do feel those lumps. But I was going for my regular mammogram anyway. Well, that dense lump turned into something way, way more. So I just decided, when I got the diagnosis, that I wasn't going to allow that to affect my homecoming, because anyone that has gone to an HBCU knows that homecoming is the experience. And I figured, whatever I had to go through, just had to wait until after I got back from homecoming, especially FAMU's homecoming. Um, so I got back, and I mean, the doctor was even incredulous. I was like, dude, I'm about to go to homecoming. But I'll see you when I get back. So when we did further tests, and so the breast cancer diagnosis was confirmed, because he initially, when he did the biopsy, he said, I think this is breast cancer. I don't know for sure, but we're gonna do a few more tests. And I'm like, dude, you got to do it after homecoming. So when I got back, we did the extra test. And he did definitively diagnose me as having breast cancer. And so, I've been praying. I mean, I've lost a child to sickle cell disease. And so at this point, I was just like, okay, Lord, if you took me through that, you're going to take me through this. And um, when I got the opinion, I mean, when he sent me to several other of the other oncologists, um, that were to be involved in my care, I just wasn't feeling what they were telling me. It just didn't sit right with me. So I started to reach out to other breast cancer survivors that I knew, doctors, nurse practitioners that I knew that had gone through it with either themselves or a family member. And so I just got several opinions. So that's the first thing that I would tell people. Once you get that diagnosis, don't go on the opinion of one doctor. The Bible tells us, out of the mouth of two or three witnesses, a thing is established. And in the multitude of counselors, there's safety. So a lot of people that I know, their first mistake is that they don't go and get several opinions, because out of those opinions, you should have at least two that agree. And the Bible tells us when two agree. So when you have such polar opinions, and the opinions that I got in the Jackson area were polar opinions. And I was like, wait a minute now, you all are looking at the same thing. Why is everybody's opinion so different, right? And so I just still didn't feel, I didn't feel, I just didn't feel, I just had a check in my spirit about it. So I prayed about it. I said, Lord, and then I thought about it. I'm in healthcare. I work for Pfizer. I've been with Pfizer for 28 years. And whenever any of my physicians or their family members or even some of their patients got cancer, really, I was like, okay, so where do the doctors go when they get sick? That was my first question. I'm like, I want to go where you go when you get sick, or I want to go where you would recommend a family member to go if they got sick. Yeah. And so those are questions that you definitely have to ask your doctor. Well, what would you do? They need to be put into your shoes and make them tell you what they would do. And so one of the places that I knew for sure, that the doctors, all of my doctors who had a bout with cancer, went to MD Anderson in Houston, Texas. And so I started to do my research, and that's my second thing that I would share in this journey. Y'all, do your research. Just don't go on the opinion of one. Do your research, because knowledge is power. And people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. What you don't know can kill you. It can, and it will kill you. So do your research. So I did my own research. Not only did I get several opinions on the matter, but I did my own due diligence, and I did my own research. And so what I found out was there were 3 major cancer centers in the United States. MD Anderson, where my doctors told me they went, in Houston, Texas. The Mayo Clinic, Memorial Sloan Kettering in New York, and then the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota. So just by sheer volume of like time, travel, distance, and everything, of course, MD Anderson was my pick because it was the closest place to us in Houston, Texas. So I prayed and I was like, God, if this is, the route that I'm supposed to take, because I mean, they're known throughout the world as far as their breast cancer treatment and care. I was like, Lord, if this is for me, you will get me in here because the first time I called y'all, like they didn't have any appointments for the rest of the year. Well, I called one of my sorority sisters who knew somebody who knew somebody. Thank you, Jesus.
It says I
And
know folks.
yes, and I was able to get an appointment there the next month. And so thus started my journey of going back and forth, my husband and I, to Houston, Texas. They're very thorough there. They did every test known to man on me. And then they decided to go with a treatment plan. I just had a peace in my spirit when I talked to my oncology team because they sit down as a team. It wasn't one person over here, one person over here. They all sit down together to discuss you and your case and what's the best mode of treatment for you going forward. And I love that about that because in Jackson, I was going to one person over here, then I had to go to somebody else over here, and then somebody else over there. And I'm like, are y'all talking even? I mean, I just need to know that everybody who's involved in my care, even down to the plastic surgeon who did my reconstruction surgery, he was sitting right there at the table as well when they discussed Jennifer Lampton. I love that. So I was there and basically we were going back and forth. My surgery was scheduled. I decided that my course of action was a mastectomy, and I told them they could take both of them. I was like, listen, I don't need them. You can take them. If I don't, but they, after all of the tests that I had, they determined that the right breast, which was not affected, did not have to be removed, and they didn't recommend it. So I was like, well, I was cool with it. My husband was cool with it. So I just said, you could have them, take them. I don't need them.
Mhm.
So my surgery was scheduled for the day after New Year's in 2018. So I went through and I had the mastectomy done, and then I started the reconstruction process. My God. So the other thing that I would share to people too is, y'all, when you go into the doctor to have like major procedures done, do not, I repeat, do not do it around the holidays. They tried to get me in like right before Christmas or like in the midst of Christmas break. Y'all, for major surgeries, these specialists, they're specialists for a reason and they've taken the time. They're not going to be operating on you during Christmas break. They somewhere in the islands or somewhere vacationing. Okay, so don't ever schedule anything right before the holiday, 4th of July, none of that, because the surgeons who are good, they are gone.
Mhm. Yeah.
Trust that. And even my oncologist told my medical oncologist told me that she said, if you really want to have the best care, can you wait? I think we can wait.
Yeah.
Go the first of the year, all of the doctors that I would trust that are good, that I would want operating on me, will be back the first of the year. I said, well, I'm with you.
You know,
And I got,
that's something. It's two things that you've said so far that I think is very enlightening. One, I've never heard of dense breasts before, so you're educating me, and that's something that I really need to research more, just as a woman, so that I know and I understand that terminology better. And then number two, just talking about scheduling surgeries around the holidays. That's really something to think about because most physicians and specialists, they are taking that time off because they're so busy and they're always having such big heavy caseloads of patients that they take that time out to be with their families. So if you have a doctor that you're scheduling with and they have all this availability for you around the holidays, it may be that they might not be the best of the best. Not saying that if a doctor is available for you around the holidays and that's your only option, don't go and see them. But I'm just saying that is really something to really kind of think about, because I remember when I had my brain surgery. We're talking about breast cancer awareness. I remember having my brain surgery, and I remember my doctor telling me to wait past December until January. And that's something that, I never really put two and two together. I knew it was the holidays. I knew I was ready to go ahead and get it done, but I wasn't thinking, I could just go to somebody else because I knew he was the person that had done the most surgeries for that condition that I had than anybody else in the entire state. So now connecting the dots to what you're saying, it makes sense. You
Yes.
know, it
Yes.
makes a lot of sense to really kind of assess all of those things when you're trying to make a decision that's so serious. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Yeah, I
Yeah.
really appreciate you even just throwing that nugget in because I mean you're really educating us on just things to kind of think over when you're kind of planning um these serious conditions and surgeries with your family members. So
Yes. The
yeah.
other thing I want to say, when you go in, ask questions. If you do your research, then you can have intelligent conversations with the clinician. Um, and then ask them questions, y'all. Don't be afraid. This is a life or death situation, seriously. And so they shouldn't be offended by questions. If they are, you're not in the right place. Go seek some care elsewhere. The other thing is listen to what they tell you. When and this is not just with breast, this is with any condition that is serious or rare. If they tell you, oh, we've never seen this before, walk, run.
Yeah.
Because if they've never seen it before, then you don't want them practicing on you. It is the practice of medicine. And so if they've never seen it before, like, you want to ask questions like, how many times have you done this surgery? What is your success rate? Have you ever seen this before? And if they haven't, if they're honest with you and tell you no. And so a lot of times you can go on websites to see like their familiarity with different procedures and all of that. Like Health Grades is a good place to go to get physician grades and get patient feedback on, start on physicians. Listen, ask questions. And if
Mhm.
they tell you, I've never seen this before, don't walk, run.
Right.
You want to go to a place where, like when I went to MD Anderson, they tout the amount of success they have in treating breast cancer successfully. So, and even different types of breast cancer, the rare kinds of breast cancer that are happening. So, how many times, all of that is so important, y'all. You don't want people practicing on you. You
Mhm.
want to be able to get to somebody who's seen it, known it, seen it, touched it, felt it, all of that, and
Yeah.
know exactly what to do in your case. And everybody's going to be slightly different, but for the most part, if they say, I've never seen this,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, because you don't want nobody, practicing on you. Like you said, what's the little game we used to have, Operation? And,
Yeah.
we play around. Yeah, we don't want that when we're trying to deal with something. And we're really, really trying to be here with our families and come out on the other side of this operation. Like,
Yes.
sleep, we want to wake back up. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I had to make sure I plugged this in because this gentleman said, "You go, girl." So, and that's your
That's
husband.
my husband, my biggest cheerleader, my greatest support.
So, with even just talking about that being your greatest support, the next question I have for you: how is a person best supported when receiving the news and having to go through a treatment like this? Because a lot of times, your family, your friends, church family, your neighbors, everybody's wanting to be there for you, and they're calling you, and they're showing up at the house, and they're bringing food, and they're bringing the fried chicken, and they bringing the cakes, and they bringing the whole 9 yards. But how is a person really best supported from your lens?
Yeah, so because I did my treatment over in Texas, and we actually made the decision to move there. So I was there in an extended stay hotel that had a contract with MD Anderson so that I could have shuttle support to and from the hospital if my husband couldn't be there with me, and my mom does not drive in metropolitan areas. So I needed to, when she came to be with me, I needed to be able to get back and forth. So the best support that I received, first of all, y'all, was prayer. It does change things. In the midst of times when I felt so unstable, I felt the prayers of the saints praying. I felt people praying for me. And it
Mhm.
stilled me, and it gave me a comfort and a confidence that I don't think people realize. So don't ever take for granted the prayers when someone crosses your mind. And I would always tell people, y'all, if I cross your mind, I need prayer. Like, just stop what you're doing, because God is placing it on your heart and in your mind to think about me. If you can, and a lot of times you can't call. Like, I wasn't in the place where people could call me, but if you could just pray for me, that really settled me, and I was able to go through and get through what I needed to get through. So prayer is the first thing. Also, I would probably say just loving on people. I mean, it means a lot that for my church family to step in during that time, make sure that my family was fed. Like, because I was in Houston, Texas, so my son was there with Carl, my husband, and I'm trying to figure out, like, are they getting fed? And so my district, my job, my colleagues, they provided gift cards to make sure that they ate while I was in Texas. That meant so much to me, because I mean, you just don't even know, like, food. I mean, I do the majority of the cooking. And usually, if you're a breast cancer survivor or breast cancer on a breast cancer journey, it's typically a woman. Not saying that men don't have breast cancer too, because they do, but typically it's women. It affects women much more. So
Yes.
just those things, when so a woman is going through it, y'all, she's not feeling like cooking. She's not feeling like doing simple things. So just simple things like having stuff delivered, DoorDash, or giving a gift card so that they don't have to worry about food. And even when I was in Texas, people sent, cash apps and sent gift cards and stuff so that I could, eat while I was there, because it was expensive. I was staying in a hotel and I was there for almost 3 months. So it was just, that, and which leads me into like the monetary donations, because y'all, it gets expensive no matter what you're going through, however, because your life is changing. And so things that you would normally do, that you normally would have the energy to do, you don't. So you're having to, maybe hire somebody to come and just kind of help pick up around the house or do certain things, or you're hiring, like we had to hire people to get Justin back and forth to school and to his events. All of that stuff takes money, because, if Carl was out there with me, then Justin was home with my mom. And again, let me stress, my mom does not drive in the metropolitan area. So it's little things like that, or even just offering rides. There were so many of Justin's classmates, their mothers reached out to me, his teachers reached out to me, so they knew what was going on. And I just said, everybody kind of looked at it through my lens. I'm like, I'm not there. I need you all to kind of embrace him. So even on the ancillary, just embracing, your loved ones, because they're going through it too. He didn't really talk much during the whole time, but I know that he was very scared. He was like, am I going to have my mom? So I just think that, just supporting everyone, not just the person going through it, but the family members as well.
Yeah, that is so huge because a lot of times, people will bring food, funerals and stuff like that. You can bank on people bringing food. But the smallest of things of just being there and filling in those gaps, with, like you mentioned, taking Justin back and forth to school, those type of things may seem small and little to us, but it's huge for you all when you have 1,000 things going on in your mind and your routine has shifted. Your normal
Yes.
day-to-day routine has shifted. So that's huge. I really wanted people to just kind of understand because of course money is always, always helpful. But in addition to money, because we know that these type of treatments, and like you ended up going to Texas, you had to completely shift your life to a whole nother state to make sure that you got the care that you needed. But going there required money. If you were staying in an extended care and you still had your residence here in Mississippi, you needed the funds. So even in addition to that, just being able to be there, show up, and support the family in her absence is was just huge. So if you have a family member that's going through breast cancer treatments or any other medical condition, just know if you don't have the monetary support, there's other ways that you can actually reach out and support as well.
Yes.
And this is my mom. She said we sisters need to support each other, and
Yes.
absolutely positively correct. We do need
Yes.
to support each other because, like you mentioned, Jen, men also deal with breast cancer diagnoses. However, we know we see it more often in women, and we do need to be able to be there for one another to support each other. Iron
Yes.
sharpens iron. We need each other to survive and just to make it and to thrive. I love.
Yes.
I know we mentioned it earlier when we were texting back and forth about the podcast. When you said that you were a breast cancer thriver, I just smiled. I was like, I love that because we often say, breast cancer survivor, and we know, anybody that has gone through breast cancer, gone through treatment, whether it's chemo, radiation, the surgeries, and they're still here and they're surviving. We know you're surviving, but even in the midst of surviving, we want to continue to thrive. So I love that. I do. I had never seen that worded like that before. So that was kind of, eye opening for me. So I made sure I told him, I said, Jen says a thriver. So is there any other treatment that you're familiar with outside of chemo and radiation? Because we know that's what we hear when we hear about cancer. The first thing we're thinking is chemo and losing the hair and the radiation with the burning sensation and everything.
So I'm definitely not conventional because again, when I went into this, I prayed and asked God for my treatment modality. You're looking at a breast cancer survivor that did not have either one, chemo or radiation. And so I tell people, do what God tells you to do. This is your life, and this is a time for you to really get in tune with Him and listen. He told me that He had healed me after the mastectomy. I had to make the decision what on how to go forth with my treatment. Would I do chemo or would I do radiation or what they wanted to do first? And they recommended chemo for me because they said that my survival rate was 85%, and I had a 15% reoccurrence. But what they stressed was so much was the 15%, the 15%. And I'm like, look, if I ain't got 85% God in me, then something is wrong after all this time. I'm going to take my chances with that because if it has a 15% reoccurrence, I'm 85 to 100% sure that my God is going to heal me if that's what He told me. And
Oh,
so after my husband and I prayed about it, I mean, he was coming and we had to see the medical oncologist together. And he was like, the Lord told him that, honey, God said he's healed you. And there were things, y'all, that I had to do. Now, don't get it wrong. Don't get it twisted. It wasn't like I was tiptoeing through the tulips. I was not. The first thing the Lord told me that I had to do was forgive. I mean, I had some things that I had to forgive and let go out of my heart. He told me to change my lifestyle. When I changed my lifestyle, I had to detox my body. I had to totally change the way I eat, totally change the way I lived in order to live. I had to change the way I lived in order to live. And then I had to get the stress out of my life. So with those three things always in mind, I went through the list. I forgave those that anybody that the Holy Spirit brought to me, I forgave. I changed my lifestyle. So now I'm what they call a flexitarian. Flexitarian is a person who I eat meat, but I'm more plant-based. So it is a word. If you look it up, a lot of people say, "Are you vegetarian? Are you vegan?" No, I'm a flexitarian. I'm more plant-based, but I will eat some meat. I don't eat beef, pork, or chicken, but I will eat fish and turkey sometimes. But for the most part, I'm more plant-based. And then I do fast because I feel like here in America, we eat way too much, way too often. And so your body needs time to reset, y'all. It just needs time to reset. And then I changed the way I put things on my skin. So all my Bath and Body Works, all of that went to the trash. I mean, it's just like I went totally vegan with what I was putting in my body. I went cleaner with what I was putting in my body and on my body.
Mm.
So all of the deodorants with aluminum in them, all that stuff left. Anything that was toxic to my body, I shampoos, everything, makeup even. I wear vegan makeup. And so a lot of times, we don't realize the chemicals and the toxins that we expose our bodies to on a daily basis. The Bath and Body, all of that stuff smells good, but it wreaks havoc on your endocrine system. It does. And so you want to try, if you're going through something serious such as this, you want to try to detox your body, give the body, because God made our bodies to heal themselves. It's the truth. And even at MD Anderson, they teach you about all this stuff, which was amazing to me, that they even give you some of the holistic measures that you can take in order to help yourself. So I would say eat right, detox, get all of the chemicals you can out of your life. I mean, even to where I don't heat things up in the microwave in plastic, or it's like you want to heat things on top of the stove. Now I do, but I'm very selective. It's in something, China, something. I don't heat it up in nothing styrofoam, y'all. If you're putting styrofoam in the microwave, oh my God, no. Because
Wow.
when you start researching all this stuff, it is so toxic to you. When the plate is burned, don't y'all think some of those chemicals went into your food?
Wow.
Yes and yes. So you
Goodness.
want to make sure that you get all of that stuff out of your life. I mean, you're fighting for your life literally. So whenever I would be tempted to do something that I knew, I was like, is this worth my life? And the answer would be a resounding no. So an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And so if you have the ability even now to cut some of those things out of your life, because they build and build over time. And that's what a dis-ease is. It's a dis-ease in your body. Something is not going right. And so sometimes you just have to give your body the rest that it needs. It needs it. And so we have to give it to it.
Oh my goodness, Lord have mercy. Now I gotta go in the kitchen and look at what we got up in here and make sure ain't nobody warming nothing up in no styrofoam, because we will put them styrofoam plates in the microwave in a minute to warm up.
Mhm.
Oh my God. This is so enlightening, because not even just for breast cancer, just for your overall health. Because we've heard so many times about warming up plastic and like leaving the plastic water bottles in the car in the heat, and you know how the plastic does something, and it's no longer healthy for you to drink the water. And some things, you think that people are just telling you anything just to, kind of get you on the bandwagon of following this theory or this conspiracy theorist and everything. So just hearing you talk about just being careful with not only what we put in our bodies, but what we put on our bodies is so enlightening. Um, and then just the radiation of just a microwave as a whole. I know some people won't even eat microwave popcorn. They will only eat it if they cook it on the stove top for that reason. So,
Yep.
goodness, Jen, we need you to teach a class on know how to eat better, what to use, what not to use. Oh Lord, have mercy.
I
I
had to learn all of that. And my husband, I mean, he's been right here with me, bless him, because he had, just like I had to change. He changed right with me. So it's just, I mean, if you want to live, and this is what I tell people, I'm living proof that it works, because people that have been diagnosed with breast cancer after me are not here, and I'm
Yeah.
still here. And I didn't have chemo and I didn't have radiation. So there has to be something to it. And I've met several people along my journey that have done things like me, and they're still here as well. So you can't not just say, oh, that's just crock. I mean, they just trying to do something. No. I mean, the biggest thing, like I said, is just listen to Holy Spirit. And even now, y'all, stuff that I want to that I want to eat, I get a check. Don't eat that.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay. And I may want it. And the other thing, the biggest offender too, if you're a cancer patient, sugar. Cancer cells thrive on sugar.
Wow.
So when I say detox, I'm talking about get the sugar out your life. I mean, I literally went, um, I literally went months without getting any sugar. I mean, because that's a major offender in so many things. So just cutting back. Like if you're a big sweet eater, baby, cut back on that because our lifestyles have us where we're sedentary. We're not working like our ancestors used to work out in the fields and getting the exercise. We're sitting at a desk and at a chair or in a car. So our bodies don't necessarily process. And then all the foods that we eat, which are so toxic. Like one of the first things I learned was when I go to the grocery store, y'all, I shop the perimeter. Everything in the middle aisles is junk. So you shop if you when you think about the perimeter, that's where your fruits and vegetables are, your meats. So you shop the perimeter. Once you go into those middle aisles, it's filled with preservatives and things that are really not healthy for your body because you can't your body doesn't process that stuff out. And as much as we eat and how often we eat, your body just doesn't have time to process it out. So it builds up and it's toxic to it. So that's what I just wanted to just kind of let people know.
Yeah, and my mom said she sees she got some changes she needs to make in her life. And my mother-in-law is also on, and she was saying this is great info. So we definitely thank you for just sharing all this, Jen, because it really, really is. And it's one of those things where we know we don't change it overnight, but it's something that kind of brings a light bulb to shine where we feel like, well, I feel like we need to sit down and have a conversation and really begin to assess what we're doing, really read these labels. Because usually, if I'm reading a label, I'm just trying to see how many calories it says in this stuff. And then I start looking at the fat, if it's saturated, all that kind of stuff. But I ain't looking for all the other stuff you're talking about. So, those are some of the things that we really, really do need to think about because, like you said, you made a great point when you said it's got to be something to it because you didn't go through chemo or radiation and you're still here. And we know, that you're a believer. And we know not all people are um, faith walkers. We know that they're not believers. Not everybody are on the same spiritual journey. However, I think that is vital for us to sit down and really assess that, get a good connection with God, a good relationship with God, and get in right connection and relationship with Him because we can't take this journey without really, really having faith in God and believing that He's going to do this. It can't just be what that lady said, this will happen
Mm-mm.
to her, so I'm not going
Right.
to chemo and this radiation.
Mm-mm.
There's several survivors out here that have taken chemo and radiation, and they're still here and they're still
Yes.
living, they're still
Yes.
thriving. So this has to be a journey that you really, really think wisely on, and you move,
Yes.
act wisely because
Yes.
your journey is not going to be the same as somebody else's if your mindset is not one of the same. So.
And that's exactly right. That's why I tell people, I mean, the Bible says, be it unto you according to your faith. And everybody's faith level is at a different level. I have been through, I mean, losing a child. I don't think you can get any more faith than that and having survived that. But I tell people if the Lord tells you to take the chemo, do the radiation, do whatever the Lord tells you to do that. Do that because He made you. He knows all about you. He knows the end to the beginning. And so I mean, you gonna argue with your maker, your creator, who knows you, who knows everything about you. And so if he told me that, Jennifer, I'm telling you, I've healed you. You just got to walk it out. And walking it out was doing those three things I talk about: forgiving, changing my lifestyle, and keeping stress out of my life. You know, I've been diligently doing those things since 2018, and I'm still here. So again, but somebody else, I have friends who've taken the chemo, done the radiation, they're still here as well. So it's just according to your faith, y'all. And it's from faith to faith and from glory to glory. And my faith may not be your faith, and that's okay. I just tell people, but the biggest thing is obedience. Whatever he tells you to do, that's what you do.
Yes, yes, that's awesome. I was gonna ask you if it was any known preventive methods, but you done already gave us so much. I'm gonna have to go back, and it's funny because I always go back and I listen to the podcast, but with this one, I'm gonna have to go back and listen with a notepad because there's some things I need to write down, so that I can begin to really, really change just my whole just my lifestyle in terms of eating and just even like with using a microwave, you
Yes,
know,
ma'am.
those things. So yeah, I just really, really appreciate you so much. You've given us so much vital information, that I pray that families will take heed to it and really utilize some of the information that you've given us, some of the tips. Tell me again, what did you say you was? Because you said it wasn't pescatarian. What was it?
Le- Lexitarian.
Vegetarian.
So you
So
flex. You flex between plant based and meat, eating meat.
God,
Flexitarian.
see, you teaching us, you learning us something up in here, and I appreciate you so much. We know that there's a breast cancer walk coming up this weekend in Jackson. Can you give us some more information about that? How people can get connected? And I know our church, the Epicenter Church, we're walking in the breast cancer awareness walk. Jen, give us some information. Give us some directions, some instructions.
Yeah, so let me help the people out. So they are very well prepared. Today I went to volunteer my time to pack the bags for the breast cancer survivors. So y'all, the breast cancer survivor bags are the best. I would tell you first, but it's on a first come and first serve basis. So get there early. Don't get there by the time the walk starts. They start accepting registrations at 7 o'clock. Be there at 7. Don't wait because it's the early bird that gets the worm. And so the bags are really nice. Like I was like, okay, come on now. This is really good. So be there at 7. The other thing I wanted to just let people know is registration starts at 7. You can kind of assemble your teams and stuff together. 9 o'clock is when the walk actually starts at Trustmark Park over there in Pearl. But you don't want to park in the parking lot because the police officers, the Pearl Police, will not let you out. So if you finish walking, you done did your do whatever, you're not gonna, or even if you're not walking and you just come to support people that are walking or support survivors, you're not walking. Don't park in the Trustmark Braves parking lot. Park across the street at Bass Pro or at the outlet mall and walk over because they will not let you out of that parking lot until the very end. The last walker has crossed the finish line. So I wouldn't want people to get caught up into the parking lot traffic and all of that because you won't be able to leave. And they say people get fire hot mad, but they still won't let you out of that parking lot. So park across the street, Bass Pro, the outlet mall, and walk over and have a good day.
And I'm sure it's for safety purposes. Yeah, to keep from hitting one of the walkers or something like that. Well, Jen, I really appreciate it. I tagged a lot of my family members that I really, really wanted. I knew they may not be able to watch live, but I wanted them to be able to specifically go back and listen to this broadcast. My aunt just recently went through some treatments for breast cancer. And so I wanted her to hear your story as she's thriving through, and I have an uncle that's in the hospital now. He doesn't have breast cancer, but he just had surgery and he finished all of his he did do the radiation and the chemo for esophageal cancer. So it
Yeah.
was cancer in his esophagus. So I just wanted them to hear your story so that they can see just this miraculous blessing that God has right here in front of us to
Yeah.
just see what is possible and what we can do to try to prevent not just cancer but other illnesses as well. So
Yes.
again, we thank you. Is there anything else you want to say before we get out of here?
So I am a thriver. I'm not
Yeah.
going to give up. I'm a thriver. I'm a thriver. And to all the other thrivers out there, I salute you, whether it's in breast cancer or any type of illness. Don't just be a survivor, be a thriver. Survive and thrive. And that's what God wants us to do because He gave us life and life more abundantly. I want to thank you, Tay, and DeMarco twice for inviting me here today. I hope that I was helpful, and I hope that people, are able to learn. If you have questions, DM me. I'm on Facebook, Jennifer Pittman Lansing. DM me, and I'm more than happy to share the knowledge that I have.
Thank you so much, y'all. And thank each and every one of y'all for just tuning in, commenting, whether it's on Facebook, YouTube, whatever outlet you join in on with us. Join us next week. We'll have another breast cancer survivor on next week. So just tune in so we can get the journey from another lens as well. And it's your girl Tay and my sis Jen, and we out of here, y'all.
I wonder if it's facts or feelings that you're feeling. I don't know if you know what's for real. Baby, just relax and chill. Let the tea spill. I bet the chemistry stop the pill. I wonder if it's facts or feelings that you're feeling. I don't know if you know what's for real. Baby, just relax and chill. Let the tea spill. I bet the chemistry stop the pill. I wonder if it's facts that you feeling. I love the fact you chillin'. These hours fly by when you and I is chillin'. These hours fly by. Feel like a couple minutes. Seen you on my timeline. Hold up, wait a minute, twice some tape. Yeah, you